This is Lee Levitt at Takeo. We are excited to present to you absolute counts on our dashboard Toku profile. If we look at a traditional experiment where you don't collect absolute counts, you can see that you only assess your data using fractions or event counts. Well, now if you provide us with the absolute count measurement, you get an additional measurement to look at your data. This becomes very useful for getting data normalized to compare to each other. This is a study where we're comparing live samples to fixed samples using our fantastic Toku kit. When we toggle between the event counts and the absolute counts, we can see that when you apply this absolute count normalization, the data is more comparable across these endpoints, live and SLST, which is fixed. So toggling between this, we can see a big effect happening from this normalization. We can now compare our data a lot easier. When we hover over these various bars, you can see the raw count value. Going down to that third line, we can see count at around 800,000 events, or if we look at the absolute count value, we're looking at around 8,000 cells per microliter. On the immune changes page, first off, I'm going to set our filters so that we can compare our data. This page is most useful for comparing endpoints to get a p-value to understand the effects that are occurring. So here when we look at hour 0 compared to hour 72, only for live cells. So this is asking the question of what happens when we let our samples sit at room temperature. Here we can see a big reduction in neutrophils, and we've added the ability to hover over a point. This is going to be an individual sample, and on this individual sample, we can see that absolute count measurement at around 8,000 cells per microliter. Compared, when you let it sit for 72 hours, there's a big reduction in these neutrophils, and you're seeing around 4,000 cells per microliter now. So not only on this page where you're comparing absolute counts, but also on our population frequencies, you're able to now look at data normalized to a top-level population. So this is going to be a percentage of leukocytes for neutrophils. So here, once again, we'll hover over this data point. This is going to be around 800,000 counts per 900,000 leukocytes. When we look at the absolute cell counts, we're now able to see 8,000 counts to around 9,000 leukocyte counts. So we're very excited for this feature. We know that this is a huge requirement for a majority of clinical trials, and this comes at no additional cost on your dashboard. So if you want to normalize your data and you have these absolute count measurements, send them over. We'll happily get them integrated and displayed on your dashboard. So thanks for taking the time to learn about this feature, see what we have to offer. We're excited to work with you.